So who knows what they're going to end up charging us or if they're going to up their prices or whatever. But right now, they're not saying anything to us. Welcome to Life Unleashed,
the podcast all about creating the best life for you and your furry best friend.
If you're a dog mom on the go, juggling life, work, and the endless joys of being a dog parent, then you're in the right place. I'm Dani.
And I'm Nick.
And together with the incredible dog mom community from Tails Up Pup, we're here to share advice, stories, and the obsession we have over the love for our dogs.
Get ready to laugh, learn, and lean on each other because life with your dog just got even more awesome.
Sometimes Nick and I sit down and talk about topics before we film, and today we did not do that. So we are coming in either with different ideas or Nick has no idea what he's going to talk about.
I feel like half the time I have no idea what you're your take's going to be on whatever we're saying. So this is not unusual.
Like 5 minutes ago, he was like, wait, what is this podcast going to be about? I'm like, the tariffs. And he didn't ask any questions. So he wasn't like, what are you going to say or anything? So he's getting
blind reaction just like you guys.
Yes, because he's probably wondering, Dani, what are you thinking? Like, how have the tariffs impacted us? Okay, so I just posted on the stories and I said,
I'm just thinking Danielle's turned into an economist overnight.
Well, okay, I posted on the stories and I already was getting reactions like, can't wait for this episode because I said what we're doing and that it's coming tomorrow.
People are excited about our tariff episode.
They're excited to hear how it's impacting us.
Oh, yeah.
And well, I guess excited might not be the word, but like they're interested.
Yeah, they want to know.
They want to know. And someone else who's a business owner was like, I'm curious, how much of your stuff do you get from overseas? And I think that's where we can start with this topic because I think that's probably why Nick's like, what are we even going to talk about? Because most of our stuff
is made right here in the USA.
We market ourselves as handmade dog bandanas. We are making our products ourselves, which is very nice because we have the ability to create anything that we want at the tip of our fingers. Like if someone wants something special, we just have bolts of fabric. We don't have much pre-made. We did try to go into a pre-made, and we've talked about this before, but like we've had people who pre-made stuff for us and we've pre-made stuff, but for the most part, that's not what we do. Especially now, we don't spend our time or money to invest in making products before they sell. So the amount of products that we get overseas directly, like imported finished goods, is pretty low.
Very minimal.
Our lick mats, our walk bags, and that's pretty much it that would come from overseas. And we don't order those often because we buy in bulk. So like the last time I placed an order for that, we didn't even live in this house. So it was over a year ago and we still have goods in our inventory. So like right now, directly coming over on a ship to us, we don't have anything that's affecting us by the tariffs.
Yeah, there's nothing sitting on a ship or airplane like on its way that we've ordered recently.
However, I am on small business TikTok and I'm hearing lots of people's stories where they're saying they have goods sitting in customs. And I was telling Nick, this one girl has $30,000 worth of product on a ship and she doesn't know what's going to happen. And if that was me, I would be so stressed out with the unknowns of what is going to happen. One specific thing that has been affecting us personally is some of our goods from Simply Sweet Pea come from a person who is in the United States. However, she imports her goods from overseas. And so we have placed, the way that this girl runs her business is she opens up a pre-order, we order, and then she orders a bulk order from overseas. And so right now we do have goods hung up with her of children's outfits for 4th of July and for summer. And those are currently being brought overseas. And she's telling us like, hey, if there's tariffs, this is going to go to you guys. Like I'm going to charge you guys, which means that now we are either going to have to lose margins if we kept our costs the same going to customers, or we have to up our costs and we don't have the margins to just eat it. So we would have to up our costs to our customers as well. So it's going to trickle down at the end of the day. If the business has to pay for it, it's probably most of the time going to go to the customers. And that's really going to make small businesses probably go out of business if this were a long-term thing,
Yeah, I mean, because if like prices go up and like the businesses that are able to like eat some of like that cost and still keep a lower priced item, they're going to be able to outcompete the businesses that like, cannot eat the margin, have to pass all the cost on to the customer, for instance. So like the people that have like the either economies of scale or just like systems in place to, have a little bit lower production cost, however they're, whether it's shipping or whatever it might be, that's going to end up, those businesses will be able to outcompete the other ones.
And for us, like I only have a few $100s, in those outfits with that girl. And that's just one of our suppliers. So like in the very short term right now, the tariffs are not affecting us much. Like we might have to pay, if that girl charged us, we might have to pay, who knows, a few $100s max.
Have we pre-ordered it?
Yes.
Like already paid?
We've paid her maybe, I don't know. I would have to check the receipt, but maybe $200.
Well, the thing that's interesting about that, like, is she like for that pre-order that we've already bought and like paid for the goods, you can't just come back and say, actually, the good is more expensive now.
So I think what would happen is if we said, you know what, I don't have any more, I cannot pay it, our order would get canceled.
And we get our money back?
I don't know how she's going to handle it. Honestly, I really don't know because I don't know.
Because with
then what, she's stuck with them.
Yeah, well, I feel like in that scenario, she's the one that's going to have to lose. I don't know for sure, but like it's kind of reminds me a little bit of like, remember when lumber like was so expensive and there was builders. I think with building stuff, there might be some leeway in like the contracts and stuff to handle that. But I know there were some builders that like, they had, made bids on stuff or whatever, or like we're in the middle of projects and then their cost, went so up and they're like, yeah, I basically ended up making no profit on this project because like, from the time like they started working on lumber costs with this price and they went up, very, very fast. And so like that ate away all their margins. So like the builder ended up having to lose on that.
Right.
And I wonder like how many people for these things that have already taken money and if she hadn't taken the money, it'd be different. And like, you've already paid for the good. Most people are not cool with the idea of like, oh, I've paid for it. It's like what if our customers pay for something? We're like, actually, we're all going to charge you $5 more before we ship it out to you.
Right.
They would be like, no.
Yeah, that's why I don't know what she's going to do. And she's just been very open and honest through this whole thing. And she's saying like, this is not a political discussion or anything. And I think that's the same way we feel with this. Like, we're not getting into politics here. This is just straight facts of how it's impacting our small business. And that's what she's doing because she has a Facebook group and she's just sharing all the details in real time. And she's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And it's stressing her out way more than it's stressing us out because her business is on the line here at the end of the day, like you're saying.
Yeah, I know for us, like the biggest thing would be kind of like our blanks that we get. I don't know where those are coming from. Like, are those going to end up going up in price?
So the three things we've talked about so far, lick mats, walk bags, Simply Sweet Pea blank items that are just through pre-order from this girl are such a small percentage of our business. The two main things we do are embroidery, and we order blanks from someone most of the time in Georgia, and our fabric that we get, which is through a facility in
North Carolina,
I believe. So 2 United States-based places. However, those people are probably getting it imported from overseas. So right now, the tariffs have not affected us that much because our 2 people are here. However, and it's still so unknown. Every day there's new information coming and they're like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Like no one really knows. And so these companies aren't telling us until it's later. And so who knows what they're going to end up charging us or if they're going to up their prices or whatever. But right now they're not saying anything to us. So I think it's going to affect us in the long term way more than it's affecting us now. I will say that like the blank company for the embroidery that we order, they have upped their prices a little bit, but I don't know if that has to do with the tariffs or the fact that they were taken over by another company, because that also has happened in the past few months.
Yeah, it's so hard to know. I mean, like to be able to say that you're like truly made in the USA, it's like, what does that really mean? Because like for us, you and I are making the finished goods here, right? Mm-hmm. Like say for the bandana, we're taking literally raw fabric and turning it into a bandana. But like, I don't know 100% is that fabric being spun in the USA?
Yeah, we don't know about that.
I don't know for sure about that.
They have like white fabric that they're printing on demand for what we buy, and they're printing it here in the United States, but we don't know where that fabric is actually coming from. And so that part could be, who knows what's going to happen. But like obviously the sweatshirt I'm wearing, the t-shirt you're wearing probably came from China at some point. So
yeah, China, Pakistan, India, like a lot of the overseas, Honduras, like a lot of those places like are you see on the tags
right.
a lot.
So even though we're getting it from the United States, those suppliers are getting it from overseas. So it is going to trickle down at some point if this were to go into effect.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And it is so hard to know, like, how much margins were they already making? Like, is it the suppliers will decide to eat some of it and then pass some of the cost on? Are they going to pass all of the cost on to us? It just depends. Again, like, if you're a sweatshirt company and like, you get your blanks from China and you have like, you're ordering millions and millions and millions of sweatshirts from them, you might say like, you know what, this is going to be my opportunity. Those other sweatshirt companies, they don't order the same volume. I'm going to keep my prices a little lower. Well, we won't make as much margins, but everyone is now going to come because my sweatshirts are going to be the cheapest in the US. So that's like, I don't know if some of them will have that business strategy, kind of like Amazon does. Like Amazon does that with books. You'll never find a book cheaper probably than Amazon, like for like a brand new book. It just like somehow they're always like so much cheaper because they've decided we don't need to make that much money on books. I don't know what type of strategy these companies will use. I feel like most of them, like you were saying, are probably going to pass the cost on to the business that they're selling to, and then the business is going to have to decide how much cost they can eat versus how much they have to pass on to the consumer.
Company Little Sleepies, who sells bamboo kids pajamas, they already upped their prices, and I don't know if it's in relation to this or not, or why they upped their costs. I mean, just like everything has gone up recently, so it's hard to know why they did what they did, but those have even gone up. So I think like, companies are just like, when a lot of information is thrown and there's so much unknown, the companies are like, okay, well, we don't want to go out of business, so let's just do a little bit and hope for the best, basically.
You know what I feel like other companies do too sometimes you see is like people will like look at opportunities, like everyone, kind of like when inflation was being talked about so much, there was definitely companies out there that I'm sure like were just raising their prices because everybody else was. It was like, this is a good time to raise prices. So like if everyone is raising prices and you can blame it on something, I'm sure there's people out there that are doing that as well.
And I think the number one thing that people will say is like, okay, like just abandon those things overseas and have them made here. But the problem is there aren't nearly as many factories here, and to have them be built and, from the ground up, that's going to take a lot of time. So it's not as easy as you think. And yeah, I just think that like even, I don't know. I just feel like, those long term, it's like, oh my gosh, this is all happening. Everyone just like, let's stay in the United States. And it's just like, it's not as easy.
Well, yeah, you can't, if, say like 50 or 70, or I don't know what the percentage is, but just say a high percentage of like clothing is coming from overseas. You can't just snap your fingers and say, okay, tomorrow let's start producing all that in the US. Like you said, you have to build factories for that. You have to hire people. You have to do all the stuff that takes years to do it. I
also think, so during COVID, all these companies like who couldn't get things, remember, it was like,
yeah, there was a time where like you didn't want to have ordered from like a country like China, for instance, because they had lockdowns for longer and things like that, and like just stuff wasn't moving. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, like in COVID, it was just hard to get things, and all these, I just think everyone went into the mode. Like, what's going on? What's going to happen? Like, if we're going into lockdown and you can't go to places to buy things, like, should we be buying inventory? Even that type of thing. And I think now, like, it could be the longer term effects. For so long, if you paid attention, like clothing for like the past few years, the style didn't change that much because these companies had so much inventory because people weren't going to buy clothes and they weren't shopping in that way because they weren't having to leave the house. And so inventory was a huge issue for a lot of people. And I think that might be an issue for this too, because like right now, companies like us aren't going to be buying things. Like right now, I would not buy a new order of lick mats because I wouldn't know when they were coming, how much they were going to cost and all that. I would just put it off.
Even just the fact of like, is it going to get tied up in customs and you're not going to be able to get it for months?
Right.
Like so even that alone is scary.
I would not place a new order right now. And I think other companies would be thinking the same exact thing. So, and it takes months to get those things. So I think that there will be longer term effects inventory wise, that a lot of these smaller businesses will not have the inventory that they need or wanted because they had to pause because of this.
I wonder how, like, I know that we talked about there's not that many of them, or like not as many as we would need, but there are definitely places in the United States that like manufacture clothing. That's 100% a fact. And so like, I wonder, are those going to be the big winners right now? Is it like if you own a clothing manufacturer in the U.S. or any really manufacturing, are you going to like now get a ton more business because people are like, dang, they didn't have to really up their prices if they're making 100%.
I would think in the short term, probably not, because like there's still enough inventory here and there. But if there were longer term effects, I think that they would win. That's my guess.
I think it'll happen pretty quick because like people, if you're a big company and you churn through inventory relatively fast, like you're, placing your orders for Christmas and things like that. So like you're having to decide now, you know what, maybe now's the time to, try that new company in the US that we haven't done. I know that they're more expensive, but now they aren't more expensive because if we bought it from China, it would be more.
Yeah, I guess like right now, my question for our business would be, I buy most of the time from like for Simply Sweet Pea, specifically, those are a lot of smaller businesses, which is why I'm thinking about that. They buy their inventory from overseas, then they house it, and then I buy from them. Like, should I be stocking up and buying more blanks from them right now because they might be out of stock for a while
or haven't adapted their prices quite yet.
Right. So
well, that's the thing, like say the sweatshirts, like have our blanks that we order, say the price hasn't moved like today, like is it going to move tomorrow or the next day? When is that price going to go up?
Right.
Do you want to stock up early? I don't know. That's a hard decision too.
Yeah. But then you invest too much money and then you're stuck with it.
That could be bad.
So the girl who was messaging me this morning saying like she was scared for her business when we posted that we were doing this podcast, she does dog toys. And I would guess that, the reason that she's scared is that a lot of her toys come from overseas. So I feel like a business like that where their sole product is not manufactured here in the United States, like that would be really scary. Like just the unknowns of like, what's going to happen? How much is it going to cost? Like, will my customer pay the X amount of money for this dog toy?
Yeah, that's really the question. I think because so much of those types of items are manufactured overseas in general, I think that like the price across the board is going to kind of go up for those things. But you just don't know, like, is there an American dog toy company that like now their toys are going to become that much more attractive because their pricing doesn't have to go up? Like, are you going to have to find them and, switch to them to keep your prices low? Are customers going to be willing to pay that extra, $3-4 per toy? I don't know.
How many dog toy manufacturers do you think are in the United States?
I have no idea.
I would guess not that many.
Yeah, I would think probably not. I mean, that's for a lot of these types of goods. It's like overseas has been cheaper for so long that it's like most companies in the U.S. have gone out of business and decided or outsourced it. But yeah, it is really difficult, like with the unknown. It's like all of this stuff, there's so many different, that's why the economy is so hard. There's so many different like factors playing in. It's like you can... And for us, we can tell you exactly like what we think is going to happen, like for our specific situation. But like, even getting into the toys, it's like we don't really deal in toys that much.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made this podcast today because there's so like we personally haven't had to swipe our credit card for more than we thought, or like we haven't had any effects in play yet. But I posted and I asked y'all what topics you wanted to hear about, and someone submitted this topic. So that's how we got here. And I was like, you know what? We can talk about it because like we're seeing it's starting to happen.
Well, you're getting our real time, like, what do we think is going to happen? What are our thoughts about it so far?
Yeah.
And then
we could come back in like a month or two and be like, okay, here's what's actually happening now. But this is like real time, the talk of the town, but no impacts have actually happened yet. But it's like scary because now we're thinking as a small business who doesn't have like a ton of funds, like, yeah, would we invest the money that we had to buy inventory to like, because of the maybes? Like we currently have not decided to do that, but like, should we? It's hard to know what the right move is.
Some of our like bandana competitors, I definitely know, get their bandanas from overseas and like say that they're $17 to $18 right now. Does that mean their bandanas are about to become like $22, $23 from the overseas to where, and our prices say that the fabric isn't coming from overseas and we don't have any price change? What if ours isn't affected? Does that make our bandana all of a sudden more attractive for customers?
How would we even find out where the fabric for our bandanas was made?
I guess we'd have to go look on the company's website and see if it says.
Do you think they put that information out there?
They may or may not. I don't know. Like, I know the company that I just got those jeans from, Origin, they spin their own fabrics.
Yeah, you
in
should
the
talk
United
about Origin
States.
because Nick, for his birthday, my mom said, "What do you want?" And he said he wanted what, jeans?
Yeah, a pair
And
of-
so it was the specific one. And Nick had a lot of trial and error because these manufactured in the United States jeans were very different than the jeans that come from overseas.
Yeah, so different. I mean, I still want to support them, and I got a pair of shorts from them as well, but I had a lot of issues. I literally think I had to do like 3 or 4 returns. The jeans are great, but they're just like the sizing was all off, and like it just took a long time to like get the right size, and like one of the colors was wrong. There was just a lot of problems, but I'm still here to support American made companies.
Okay, it just says print on demand process minimizes waste, prioritizes sustainability, and ensures exceptional quality. We're proud to use responsibly sourced materials, including recycled textiles and water-based pigment inks and dyes. But it doesn't say where the fabric comes from, which probably means not in the United States. We source premium textiles and wallpapers from trusted mills to ensure unparalleled quality all over the world. There you go. Oh, here. Our innovative printers bring every design to life, and our in-house sewists carefully craft each item to order in the United States. So
maybe they are like...
No, it sounds like the material is coming from all over the world, but then everything else is done in the United States.
Well, see, yeah, that's the thing that's even like crazier. Like if you think about it, like say like you're weaving the fabric in the United States. I don't know exactly like how fabric is made, but like is it like was the cotton grown here? You know, that's, you know, it gets all the way down to like the true raw materials.
Yeah.
You know, was the cotton grown here? Was it, you know, then like whatever, the Eli Whitney thing, the cotton gin, I don't know if they still even use that thing, but like, did they get the seeds out here and then as it spun here? There's just like, it's endless. It really is mind-boggling how like so many pieces of material go into like even some of the simplest items.
Here's an interesting fact. Comfort Colors, which is the shirt that Nick's wearing right now. Comfort Colors apparel, while using American-grown cotton, would you have guessed that?
No.
No. It's constructed in Honduras and Mexico.
Isn't it crazy that it is cheaper to take American cotton, ship it to Honduras or Mexico, have it made there, and then shipped back here?
Where do you think it's dyed?
Pakistan.
Vermont. So it says that we're growing the cotton, shipping it to be constructed, and then garment dyed in the U.S., specifically in Vermont.
That's interesting.
Yep.
That just literally shows you how crazy it is. Like, we know how much shipping costs. Imagine like saying, you know what, it's rather than just doing it all in Vermont. I mean, I know they're not probably growing cotton in Vermont, but like it's just crazy like that you can ship this thing all over the world back and forth and it still be cheaper to do it that way than to just do it all in one location.
Do you know who owns Comfort Colors?
No.
Gildan.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Never knew that, so that's interesting. A company with manufacturing facilities in Central America, the Caribbean, North America, and Bangladesh.
Yeah, you do see a lot of Bangladesh, don't you?
Comfort Colors uses a pigment pure process that produces earth-friendly colors, uses 3 times less water, takes 40% less process time, and consumes less energy, and requires 0 salt. There you go. Your little information on Comfort Colors, because literally everyone loves Comfort Colors.
Yeah, it is superior, don't you think?
Yeah, but is my, thought of it tainted now that I know that Gildan owns it? I love Gildan, though. I don't know why there's so much hate for Gildan.
There's hate for Gildan?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because people just think it's cheap. And it is the cheaper alternative. Like, Comfort Colors is, an elevated brand. Gildan is the cheaper brand.
Yeah.
But, like, the one I'm wearing right now is Gildan. And I think that it's super comfortable. I like the fleece line of it. And I like the style that it's slouchier. So, I'm a Gildan fan.
I prefer, like, the Comfort Color t-shirts, but I think the Gildan sweatshirts may be better, some of them.
Yeah, we've never even tried Gildan t-shirts. I mean, like, I've seen them.
Yeah, we have. We've seen them before.
Yeah, we've seen them, but we've never sold them.
Yeah. The Comfort Color is like a little bit thicker, so like it embroiders better, I feel like.
Yes.
For the t-shirt.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I feel like we kind of went all over the place, but this was our tried and true real feelings. Like,
about the tariffs?
Yep. And there's a lot to come. So who knows? This might be part 1 of a multi-part series.
I just don't want, like, I know a lot of this crazy stuff can turn into like trade wars and like I don't want it to spiral out of control. It's like, you know, because it seems like every day there's new news coming out about it. It's like, let's just give us what it's going to be so we can see, you know, like what the effects are going to be. Every time it changes, like then the game changes.
Yeah. So every day there's some new information, and I'm really bad. Like, we don't watch the news or anything. So a lot of times I don't even know until I see something on social media, which is probably the bad part about being a business owner, because I'm not keeping up with all the times. But I think if it was like, you know, impacting me right in this moment, I would probably be doing more research. But because I'm like, the effects on us will be a little bit longer term. Like, we're not reading the news every day about it.
Well, I give you the Wall Street Journal like headlines.
Yeah,
least.
Nick will tell me what I need to know. So I have a business partner who will help me out. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for shopping small, supporting our small business. It means so much to us. Even if you're listening and you've never bought from us, everything helps. A like, a share, telling your friend about us, because word of mouth is actually the number one way that we can thrive.
Yeah, it's crazy, like, to think about the word of mouth. It's like whenever a friend tells you something, you are that much more likely to go check it out.
Whenever like someone's asking, oh, like, you know, how did you get started and your friends and your family, I'm always like, okay, if there were a family tree and like we're here, we're
at the top.
This is hard to explain, but like if we're here and then our family and friends is the next line, basically none of that line is like our go-to customers. Like, they might buy here and there, but like they're not the people who come back time and time again. It's that next step down.
It's our
our friends' friends.
Yeah, it's our second or third order connections.
Yeah. So like we won't know them, but we'll be like, oh, that's Meredith's best friend. Like, my best friend is Meredith, and she buys from us from like here and there for, you know, holidays or occasions. But her friend is who's the subscriber. Her friend is the one who's coming back every month to buy something. So it's always those like second tier relationships that who we didn't even know, but our friends told them, and then they became customers. So that just goes to show that word of mouth is very effective, can help the small businesses in your life, and we appreciate it so much. So just know that we love you guys so much, and we are here because of you. We would not be able to do what we do without you, and we love you guys so much.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.